The kind of people who are really genuinely upset by what I say are the kind of people who can't truly learn anything and become successful in life.
Yeah.
I obviously know what I'm talking about to some degree, right? So if Mike Tyson walks in here and tells you he's going to teach you how to box and says you can't fight if that upsets you, then you can't learn, right? It's Mike Tyson. Just shut up and listen. Yeah. If someone, Richard and me, comes along and says, Andrew, you don't know shit, you're a dumbass and you're a brokey, I'm going to sit there and go, okay, maybe I am a brokey, Elon. Tell me something, right? I'll listen. But if you're going to sit there and go, don't call me names and then I not listen, you're never going to get anywhere, right? You don't become the master unless you're very, very good at being a student. And I've always been very, very good at knowing when to shut up.
My entire life, I've always woken up thinking or feeling like I had an enemy to fight against. As long as I can remember, I've always had. I was a professional chess player when I was a kid. So when I was 4, I woke up and my dad was sitting there saying, you're playing this Chinese kid, he's good, right? So I always had that. Then I had professional fighting. I had 87 fights. So my whole life I had some fight coming up. And now I wake up and the Matrix is attacking me. So I've always woken up feeling like I had an enemy. Mm-hmm. And that certainly shaped my reality. It definitely shapes how I act and shapes how I think. I've always felt like I was in war, if that makes sense.
Have you ever felt like you were your own worst enemy?
No, in fact, quite the opposite. I've had a healthy fear and respect for all of my enemies to the point where I've understood the only chance I stand to beat them is to have as many allies as possible. And the most important ally is my own mind. Yeah. I have enough people who dislike me that I don't have the luxury of doubting myself. So even at the height of the cancellation, right, when they were coming at me with everything, and I haven't even told you some of the stuff they come at me with. I'm about to tell you this. It's a lot more scary than getting deleted from Instagram.
Sure.
When they were coming at me, absolutely. Even the people close to me are going, you're dealing with this well. And I was like, I have now innumerable shadow figures trying to destroy me. If my brain betrays me, I'm really right. Yeah. Like I can't go down that path. So no, it's actually completely the utter opposite. I've galvanized myself against internal enemies. Me and every single part of me is all on the same team, and it always will be. And I think that's because, like I said, my whole life I was battling against something and someone else.
One of the most terrifying but also gratifying things of life as a man is that we're all born relatively valueless. I don't think women are born that way. A woman, if she's born, especially if she's attractive, has an innate value. People just want her no matter what. But as a man, if you're not an important man, nobody gives a about you, and they're never going to care. So you have to build yourself from the ground up, and that's scary for a lot of people, but it's also a massive opportunity. You can decide if you want to be a famous musician or a nice sensitive poet or a painter or a kickboxing world champion or a businessman. You get to decide on all the different characters in the video game. You can choose, who do I want to be? And then if you actually try, you can become it. Isn't that amazing? You can wake up and go, you know what? I want to be this kind of guy. I knew who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the dude pulling up in the Lambo, 3 a.m, gets out. Everyone's like, who is this big, strong, rich dude? I wanted to be that man, so I became him. And if you don't want that, if you want to go be a musician and play guitar and get a bunch of chicks and chill in Bali and smoke weed, whatever, go, you can choose your character and build it. Like, so I don't even want to hear it. I'm uninterested in it. And you're right. You have to be careful who you're around because you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I knew a guy who wanted to be a musician. And I'd meet him and say, how are things going? He'd go, bro, nearly finished my song, gonna finish my album, and we're gonna make a lot of money. I was like, cool. 6 months later, I'd see him, how's things? Hey, bro, almost done with the album. I was like, it's been 6 months. An album? Yeah, but you don't understand. You gotta mix the track. It takes time. Mixing a track. Okay, we have computers. What, 10 minutes? Okay, two days. It's been 6 months, bro. Like, and I'd sit to him and say, it can't take this long. You're just smoking weed. You're not working. And he's like, no, you don't know. So I thought, okay, I'll make a track. So I made a song. I wrote some lyrics and hit a guy up, got a beat, got a mic. I know I'm not talented. Yeah. Talked, blah, blah, blah. I made a song in 2.5 hours. And I started releasing these songs I made in 2 hours. And it was just to spite that guy, just to teach him a lesson about how speed works. It's funny because obviously not because of my musical talents, but because of my influence everywhere else. I got millions of views on my videos. Yeah. So I beat him. Like, how many views you got? Yeah. 0. And it's not because the songs are good, not because I think I'm a musical genius, but because I'm Tate. But they're like an hour, 2 hours. I threw them together, and it was just a lesson in speed to make sure that I wasn't making any mistakes. And he was telling me it genuinely took months. I knew he was wrong, but the only way you truly know is to do. So it's like, this has to be a lie. So I made a song in 2 hours. I made a video in 3 hours, and boom, boom. from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. Bang, interviews done. And he's still talking about his album. He's probably still talking about it today. probably doesn't even exist. Comes out tomorrow. Yeah, be ready.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Look, everyone loves passive money, right? I make money as I sleep. I get it. You need to de-link your time to your money, because if you're only working for money, you run out of time, you can't make enough money. I understand all those principles. My point is, if you have no money and you're coming to me saying, I want to make passive income, why are you not making active income? Get up off your ass and work first. Because there's no such thing as completely, truly 100% passive. You're going to have to check on it. You have to maintain it. You're going to have to find a new tenant for that property. You're going to have to make sure that DeFi crypto farm you're in doesn't go to zero. It's not a rug pull. Yeah. You're always going to have to keep an eye on it, right? But the idea that people with no money are already so concerned with making money without work is amazing to me. You should be worried about active income. If you show me, if I'm a brokey, and you show me how to make $1,000 an hour, I don't sit there and go, okay, but how can I make that passive? I go, cool, I'm making $18,000 a day because I'm going to work. Dude, you don't need to worry about passive income until you have no more time. I look at passive income because I have 18 hours a day I work. When all 18 of those hours are done and my workload still isn't finished, I have to find a way to make some of those income streams passive, either via staff or whatever else. Yep. And that's how I work smart. I use all of my time, and when all my time is done, now I have to become more efficient so that I can get more done within the same time frame. To sit there and say, I don't want to use my time, so I want passive income is dumb shit. The 16-year-old making 45 grand a month, if he was to sit to me and go, I don't want to make the TikToks, I want someone else to do it, make it passive, that he wouldn't be making any money. He's just working. You have to just work. At some point you have to bite the bullet and just work. So when someone comes to me talking about passive income and they're a brokey, I'm like, you are just lazy. You are lazy. You will never get anywhere. Lazy people never get anywhere in life. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's tennis or money. If you're lazy, you're never going to get there.
I feel uncomfortable with a lot of money in my bank. So that's another thing. Like, I'm now at the point where I don't really carry money at all. I don't have any way of paying for things, because anytime I'm anywhere, I'm with like my PA or my security team, whatever. So it's almost weird how quickly you get used to like walking in somewhere, eating, and just walking out. I don't pay, and someone else sits and pays for me.
Sorts it.
So it's weird. I don't pay for anything. I don't have any money. I don't have any of that stuff anymore because
that sounds like true freedom, though. You don't have to worry about the money at all.
I don't look at the price of anything. I don't look at the price of anything. If a new car launches and I want it, I just say, give me this.
Sort it.
Yeah, literally, give me one. What options? All of them. Just tick every box. And cars turn up at the house that I've forgotten I've bought. And
when did you reach that level of wealth? Was it within the last couple of years, or were you at that stage beforehand?
I was always fairly well off, but in the last, I'd say 3 years, I got to a point where money is truly not real. Money has no value whatsoever for me anymore. So if I want something, I'll just buy it.
What do you do? Starting from scratch, you're in London, you got nothing, you got no contacts, you're not in your war room, and you need to make £10,000.
I've never done it before. However, you'd have to start with selling something.
Yeah.
You'd have to start with becoming the middleman of something, and you have to start by taking a commission. That's the first thing you could do. Like the London dropped in the middle of zero and doing it physically, I'm not sure. I think no matter where I was dropped, I would turn to the internet, no matter what.
Okay.
I think that because the internet's just a global marketplace, it's just so much better. I'd find somebody with, okay, so let's say I had nothing, right? I'd find somebody with star power, like you, for example. I'd come along, I'd drop you an email and say, listen, I want to put something together. I believe I can help you sell more. I am hoping if I show you I can sell more, you'll give me X amount of commission, X amount percent. I understand you have star power, you have something I don't have. You can talk in front of the camera, you can attract people, you can entertain people. What are you currently selling? You're selling this. Okay, if I bring X amount of thousand people, will I be able to get this person? That's what I would do. I think that if I didn't have the ability to sit on a camera and entertain, I would find somebody who does, and I would be the blood and guts beneath the show business.
Interesting.
And that's the easiest way to get rich in the world today.
So you'd find someone that's got an existing product or service.
Correct.
And then you would help them sell it and promote it.
Absolutely not. That's the easiest way to get rich today, especially because commission only, nobody's afraid of saying yes to.
What's made me the most money is the War Room. The War Room is a private members organization that I run. So when I first got,
This is interesting.
When I got extremely wealthy, I wanted to know where, I kind of felt like I'd gone to outer space expecting to see aliens, and I got there and there were none.
No idea.
I was like, where is everybody?
okay, I'm rich, but I expected once I became rich to meet other men who were rich, focused, intelligent, had their dating lives in order, their physical health in order, their finances in order, their connections in order. And I got to the top of the mountain. I looked around and realized nobody had it. Like, yeah, this guy's rich, but he's cucked by his wife and he's fat. This guy's rich, but he's controlled by the Matrix. This guy's rich, but he's dummy. He just made a bunch of money making music, rap. He's an idiot. This guy's rich. Like, there was nobody who had it all. I was like, and I wanted a network of genuine predators. I wanted the Freemasons almost. I thought I didn't want to join their organizations. But
you wanted people like you.
I wanted people like me. So I started an organization to find those men. If you spend all of your time sitting around people who talk about how to become powerful and influential and rich, guess what you're going to end up being? Powerful, influential, and rich. So now I have the greatest network on the face of the planet. And when I say it's maybe the most money, it's not because of the membership fee. The membership fee is very low. It's cheap. It's because of the opportunities and connections inside of the world. And that's why I am ultra competitive, and that's why nobody will ever beat me. If you're an individual and you wake up and think, I want to make my life better, and you spend 8 hours reading a book, that's fine. When I wake up to maybe 25 messages from some of the most influential and rich people on the planet that you've never heard of, telling me, buy this now, this is an opportunity to make money on the Russian ruble, this is an opportunity to make money here, this is an opportunity to make money on this land, this is what's going on in Iraq, here we have an opportunity in Nairobi. And I'm sitting there going, okay, and I have got all this curated information and genuine opportunities in real time presented to me. And within 15 minutes, I've made a $5 million investment. You're on page 1. You're still reading your book.
The introduction.
You're still reading. You're still reading the introduction. And this is why, against people like me and my network and the other people inside the war room, you will always lose. So the war room's maybe the most money, but not because of membership fees or anything like that, because of the genuine connections and opportunities inside the war room. And we're just free minds. Anybody who listens to what I say and agrees with it and likes it should understand that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
100%.
And if you know that, then you need to make sure you're not spending time with anybody you don't want to be. And if you learn and absorb and you're in the right place, then you can do fantastically well. So the war room, I mean, with the war room network now, I could never be broke ever again. I think the world would be a terrible place if everyone had a free mind. You do need the slave minds.
I've heard you say that.
As annoying as they are, you do need the slave minds. You do need the guy who believes that, working the gas station is important and he's good at it. You need him. It's good. You need these people.
Yeah, but what if that guy just doesn't know any better, though?
It's good.
Or he's
This is what we're talking about,
Good,
though.
fine. The world can't all be, mansions on the Palm in Dubai. They can't all be that. So successful is all about self-definition, which is what I was saying at the beginning. You have to decide who you want to be. And if you wanted to be Joe Schmo and you pull it off, then you'll be a pretty happy, content person. Decide who you want to be. I think the people who are miserable, it's the gap between their expectations and their reality. That's where the misery lies.
Yeah.
My expectations were always enormously high. Even when I was a nobody, I knew I had to be filthy rich and a kickboxer, and I knew I had to be the kind of guy that people gave a shit.
Were you happy at that point?
I know, but I knew I'm basic things. At the age of 15, I knew that if I'm the kind of guy that if I raise my voice, people are going to care. I'm not going to be the guy who starts shouting and everyone thinks it's funny. I know I'm going to be the kind of guy who is genuinely a formidable opponent in all realms of human endeavor. I know I'm going to have money. I know I'm not going to take shit.
Where did
from
that come
nobody.
from, though?
Well,
You can't just.
Yeah, I know.
I understand what you're saying, because my whole life
you
I
had the
felt
same
like
thing,
there's
bro.
always more. I know that there's more. Like,
But I think a lot of people have that.
Of
course.
But the people who are miserable are the people who don't try hard enough to obtain it, because I actually believe, and this is another thing I'll say, I believe the universe is very giving. I think the universe and God himself is very giving. I've yet to meet somebody in all my years who is genuinely giving 100% of themselves day after day, doesn't snake anyone, firm handshake, look you in the eye, doesn't lie to nobody, and tries 100% who doesn't get what they want. I've never seen it. Every single person who doesn't have what they want, there's something in their story that doesn't quite add up. I've yet to see some guy have you ever seen a guy who eats right, who trains his ass off, and never misses a gym session, ever not grow? Ever.
No.
Not what? Not what?
Not grow. Not make
ever.
gains.
It's just, that's the way the universe works, right? So if you're truly about it and you're truly trying your absolute best, you're going to do it. And that's what I believe. I believe the universe is extremely giving. So when I meet somebody and they go, I really wanted this and I don't have it, I say, you didn't really want it. You're a liar. I don't understand, or I don't fathom the concept of fun. I don't wake up and think, what can I do for fun? I don't wake up and think, what is fun? I want fun. That never crosses my mind.
I wake opportunities, right? Because you have to be positioned to take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like in chess, they say good moves come from good positions. It's true. You can't find a good move from a terrible position, right? If you're sitting at home with no money, it's hard to invest in Bitcoin at $1. Doesn't matter what it goes to, right? You got to be in a good position to take advantage of things. So you always got to be in a position where You have a good network, you have good information, you have some kind of liquid money, you have the ability to survive without that money, you can take a risk. Like, it's hard to set yourself up. I'm in a position now where I'm in the NBA. I'm an NBA player. I can never go broke again. So it doesn't matter, right? But once you're in the NBA, I can throw $1 million at something. It doesn't matter if it works or not. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. And that's why it's so much easier. They always say the first million is the hardest, and they're completely right. Once you get to a certain point, you can gamble to it.
Yeah. I don't want to sound, airy-fairy, but I truthfully believe that the universe is a giving place, and that if you actually really want something, you can have it. How much you want is how much you're prepared to sacrifice. So if you want $500,000 a year, you can definitely make that. And that level of stress you'll absorb for that money and the amount of headache you'll go through, if that's the amount you're prepared to accept for a happy life, you'll have it.
Do you think anyone can do that, though?
I think that you have to pre-decide, right? So even my level of wealth comes with enormous stress. Governments are after me. Like most people are not mentally prepared for the bullshit I go through. So the number one factor that's going to decide how successful you are as a person is your ability to absorb stress, your stress level. The better you are at dealing with stress, the more problems you can fix, the more money you're going to make.
What I'm doing now at my stage of my life is buying power. So I thought I wanted to be rich. I didn't want to be rich. I wanted to be free. You're only free with power. And in the American political system, it's a perfect example of lobbyists and lobbying.
Yeah.
So they will lobby for things. They'll come along and say, I'll give you an example. Why are there no high-speed trains in America? America's huge and rich. High-speed trains would be fantastic for America, but then the rail network is basically non-existent. The reason is because the oil companies lobby both political parties to make sure that they don't build trains, everyone drives. Long highways, it's good, sells a lot of gasoline. That's what they want. So once you get to a certain level of money, you realize you want political friends. So you're like, okay, I want this law, or I want this law to work this way. Or I just want someone I can call if this happens to me. And you just
Where do I begin? I'm Tara Davis Woodhall, Olympian, and today
start giving a lot of money away, effectively. And you're trying to buy power, and that's the way it's always worked. That's what these huge corporations and companies do.
Well, the thing is with reading a book is it's a reward without any risk. And this is why I think a lot of people are proponents of reading, and they say reading, because nothing can really go wrong besides wasting your time in life, of course, but they don't believe that. I am a much larger proponent of larger risks and larger rewards. If you want to learn about self-help, if you want to understand yourself and see what kind of man you really are and learn how to fight through adversity and learn how to get up when life's difficult and learn how to control your mind and learn how to struggle, then you can go to the boxing gym and you can get your ass kicked. You do not need to read any books. You need to get in the gym, walk in there and say, I'm going to fight the best fighter here every single day and not quit until you can eventually beat him. But most people are not man enough for that. So instead they'll read a self-help book and they'll sit there and try and talk to me about mindset. I learned my mindset in battle. My mindset is 87 professional fights. My mindset was learning the reality of the real world. I don't need to read a self-help book. I don't need to read about motivation or confidence. I've been in the cage smashing people's faces in. I don't need to learn any of that stuff. So I learned in reality, and reality is always going to be a better teacher than a book, because you're not learning when you read books. You're regurgitating. You may be reading, but I don't believe you're truly learning. My coach used to say, if it doesn't hurt, you didn't learn. And I think he's completely right. And it's the same with entire life. You see people make the same mistake over and over again until it eventually goes really wrong. Yeah. And it's only then they'll change.
Then they change.
So absolutely. So I learned how to become self-disciplined and become self-motivated and work hard, and I learned how to face adversity and find strength within myself I didn't know I had, because people were trying to kill me inside of a cage, and you cannot replicate that by reading pages of a book. No. So it's a waste of time.
There's a study I read about stress, and it was saying that stress has a placebo effect attached to it, because the placebo effect is extremely powerful. So they found some of the most stressed people in the world, and they split them into two groups. And they're all equally stressed. They all have a bunch of cortisol in their blood.
Yeah.
The people who believed that stress was bad for you and that stress can hurt you, and they believed those media articles, were dying earlier. They were having heart attacks and having stress-related illnesses. The people who believed the opposite, who just said, stress is part of being successful. I like stress. When I feel stressed, I do my best. It makes me anxious. It turns my brain on. I like being stressed. Lived longer than average.
Yeah.
The point is, the same drug, how you look at it and how your body anticipates it, how you feel about it, affects the real world results. I don't think motivation is a real thing. I don't believe in motivation as a concept. I think discipline is real, and I also think discontentment is real. And I don't think it's possible for anybody to stay in a scenario where they're truly uncomfortable. If you fall asleep on your arm and your arm really starts to hurt, even in the deepest sleep, you're going to wake up and move your arm. If you sit there and your life has been in a rut for 7 years, you are semi-comfortable in that rut. Sure, there's days you're pissed off. Sure, you're semi-annoyed by it. But there's also days where you just play video games, eat pizza, and you're kind of cool with it and it's no big deal. If you were truly unhappy and uncomfortable and discontent with your scenario, you wouldn't be in it.
So I
don't believe there's anybody who's truly, when I was broke, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. Please understand me. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I'd be trying to go to bed thinking, how these people have Ferraris. I want a Ferrari. I couldn't sleep.
If I had to open a coffee shop, if I sit in a coffee shop, right? If I sit in Starbucks, the whole time I'm in there, not only am I thinking about how they got the money from me and how much I spend, I'm thinking about how I could outcompete them. I'd sit there and go, okay, cool. I'm in Starbucks. I spent £5.68. I got a latte and I got a donut. And I'm sitting here. And that business place, that commercial property right across the street is available for lease. How could I outcompete this coffee shop which just took my money? What's the profit margin on this £5.68? How much did this cost them? The coffee, pennies. Donut, 30p maybe, right? How much is the staff? They pay the staff minimum wage £8 an hour. So I've already paid 30 minutes work from that girl. She's there for another 30 minutes for free, right? How much is the rent? How much is the business rates? If I had to open up there, how would I attract people to come into my shop as opposed to their shop? They got a big brand name. I'm brand new. Okay, well, the bitch working here is ugly. My one's going to be hot. Boom, that's the beginning. Next thing, do they have any signage outside? No, I'm going to try and put some signage outside. Do they have parking? No, I need parking. But when you just start thinking about how you can convince people to give you their money as opposed to giving it to the places they already give it.
Different analytics.
And once you do that, people say, I can't think of how to make money. If you start doing that for a year and just keep a notepad, you'll have 100 ideas of how to make money. You'll sit there and go, there's a place here that's doing this, and we could do it better this way. This place online's doing this, we can do it better this way. And then to get them all done, what do you need? Network. You need people. It's all about people. Then you need to either go in the war room if you want to join, or have your people around you and say, okay, we can make money with this. Who's going to do it? Who's not lazy? Who's getting up at 4 a.m. tomorrow? Boom, let's get it done. So there's unlimited ways to make money, but most people go through life and their money is taken from them and they don't even identify how they got tricked out of it.
They're just happy with it.
Yeah, they just have, how did I spend 16 grand in Cirque last night? Oh, because my ass got drunk. How'd they get me drunk? Well, because the guy, when I first bought the first bottle of champagne, was there on the table, pouring, putting it in my hand, got me drunk, then I spent 16 grand on bottles. That's how they got my money. So if I open a club, I need to make sure when people first come in, they get hammered. Nobody thinks about it that way. Nobody thinks, how did they get that out of me? Right? Why am I spending $2,000 for dinner in Novikov? Is it the food or is it the fact that I'm in Novikov and tag myself in Novikov? You have to identify how you're getting famoosed, how you're getting finessed. That's how you do it. But most people just walk through life getting finessed left, right, and center, giving all their money up. Then they're like, oh, how did that happen?
You got to learn to finesse other people.
Yeah, but it's not finessing in a negative way.
It's in a good way.
It's a good way. You have to take money from other people. That's the only way you're going to make money.
Yeah.
You have to take it. There's a pimp, and he said a really intelligent line. He said, business is just other people's money. That's all business is. I want to start a business. So you want other people's money. That's what you want. So how are they going to give it to you? You have to think about it. Nobody thinks about it. And the easiest way to think about it is to think how you're giving yours away. That's a mental model you should adopt.
Yeah.
And you'll end up with loads of business ideas. Business ideas are everywhere. It's just execution which is difficult.